let's get going. Let's keep the flow into the rhythm. Myself, Alok, and I am heading a advanced IoT lab in Swan and also CTO for Samsung in India. So this talk is entitled as IoT 2.0, the next phase of SmartThings engagement and growth. And we will also be joined by Jan and Yash subsequently. So it's a 45-minute session. Let me go through 30 minutes or so the different things that we are doing. This is a connecting session between the keynotes that you had in the morning by Jayun and the subsequent, all the tech talks and the code demos that are there. So it's a connecting session between the two. So we are going to be starting to talk about how industry has been predicting a huge growth in IoT, but the outlook has changed over time and we see a gap. We see a gap. If I look into Gartner report, we can see that, the view that was there in 2014, people talked about 25 billion devices, but 2019, the same view for 2020 is changed to 20 billion devices. But this was one of the conservative ones. Many people talked about 30 billion, 40 billion, 50 billion kind of devices, but at the end of it, even 20 billion is no less. Same way, IoT revenue, if I look into the IDC data, it predicted in 2014 about $7.1 trillion across 9 verticals, and going today in 19 predictions for 2021 is $1.14 trillion. But we are coming to reality, and it's much more grounded than the hype part of it. But then, why is there a gap? When you analyze that, particularly in our context of smart things and smart home and building, we see 3 things. Lack of interoperability, lot of different protocol and communication technologies, security, vulnerability, and privacy concerns, and also high cost of devices. At times, consumers are perceiving that there is no real benefit to their lifestyles, and therefore, probably that's a challenge. These are from OCF report, Parks Associates, and many others. So what are we doing and how are we reducing the gap in SmartThings? So our platform, we have been making it much more scalable and open, as you heard this morning. And there have been not just Samsung's own products, there have been 5,000 different device categories, including ours plus partners, and about 100 plus strong partners. Many other startups are coming up, but 100 plus strong partners have joined this ecosystem. And today we have 45 million monthly active users into our system. And you can see the geographic locations for different reasons, 22%, 29%, 17%, and 32% in different regions that you can see. So today we're going to be talking about 2 primary things. One is the increased engagement. Do more with your devices, do more with advanced automations, and make sure even when you do that, the platform is maintaining the privacy. The other part of the talk is accelerated growth, more ways to connect and rich experience with different services, and how are we evolving our architecture to cater to different services. So do more with your devices. Let me share a few more statistics that you don't get every day, but interesting to keep in mind. First part of it, the top part that you see is non-users, those who are not yet into any kind of IoT. When you do the survey of theirs, you see 51% people, they accidentally leave the lights on. There is 41% that keep the TV or appliances on. About 1/3 of others, you can see that when they go away from home, they want to know what's going on in home, or have they forgotten their doors and windows locked. Those kinds of worries and anxieties are there. And that, if we can translate and capture well to our services, hopefully we will bring them on board. The bottom part that you see is about the users that are using. And about 2/3 that you see that they are operating smart devices at preset times. Many of them have not gone into complex automations, but at preset times, something is happening. You can also see people are liking convenience of managing through a single app, like SmartThings app that we have. They are favoring to do that instead of going into different remotes and applications. When you look into our own data platform analytics, we can see that when people have multiple devices, and if we analyze them, 50% of them are interested in purchasing or have purchased a hub. So multiple device owners, 50% with a hub. So the question that comes into our mind that as people are buying more and more devices, what are they doing, and can we analyze statistically, not at the individual level, and can figure it out so that we can promote the other device owners. If they had to buy one more, what should they buy? What kind of experience they could get? So when you look into our device owners, there are 31 million exclusive device owners, and then sometimes same owners, but different users at home are using it. So we gave two figures. After 6 or more devices, it's just dropping points. Only 0.4 million today are using that kind of 6 or more devices. So most of it is below that. Some examples, some statistics. Light, sensor, switch is a common triplet. We see that when we analyze our data, people buy these 3 things. Most of them have it. So we're looking for many such triplets or quadruplets so that if people that are buying, we can engage them and ask them to use it more effectively. 70% of light users are using automation smart lighting. So what we built smart lighting is being used by 70% of light users. Let me take one more example from air quality service that we have launched. If people had one air conditioner or one purifier, obviously they are using much less, as you can see, the air quality service. But if people are using air quality service, we have seen them buying more devices. Or vice versa, at times they have bought, but over time they have learned how to use the air quality service because it's across multiple rooms. So one part is do more with devices, the other is do more with advanced automation. And so far, we have been talking about automations, if this, then that kind of IFTTT rules. But we have talked this morning about a new rules API that's versatile, quite powerful. It saves cost because these automations could be run on SmartThings Cloud instead of your own. If somebody is running another cloud, instead of there, it could be run there. And there is public API that is defined. And when you do that, there are automations. For example, if you are wanting to sit on a relaxing chair, and as soon as you sit there, you can play the music or dim the light or put a colorful light. So we can define many such modes. So your movie mode, that's quite popular in India. It's coming up, I can see. But then you can also have your sunrise mode, what needs to happen, or good morning mode. So these different things we could define in this advanced automation. To be able to do that, as we talked about in the morning, is also there is this web core. This is for the power users or for developers who could help the other users use this web front end to build advanced automations using this underlying rules API. So the rules API are there, but the web core technologies is more helping people to build that and manage the whole automation process. You can see on the right side, there are, for example, conditions, changed, didn't change, is any off, is not any off, was off, any off. All kinds of things are possible, and you can do effectively on a trigger and operations or operations to be able to do these automations. And today we have, immediately after this session, two sessions, one talking about the previous part that I talked about, which is your the rules API, and then followed by that in the web core sessions. The third part that I wanted to talk about in this is privacy preserving platform. So over time, multiple platforms that we were having of our digital appliance devices and visual display, SmartThings, Samsung's own, we have been able to integrate that into one data platform and we could analyze. But at the same time, we are ensuring and we are highlighting every time that it's a very privacy preserving, meaning 15 PII, your locations or names, gender, all of those informations, we are at the top layer itself, as you can see, is anonymized. And then you have your extract, transform, load process. After that, we can have a common analytics more for statistical purposes. Until and unless there is a personalized service, this information is not used anymore. The GDPR, at the same time, we are compliant. Samsung SmartThings platform is GDPR compliant. It's an European one, but all of these countries we have for China, India is coming up with new, US, we have the policies. So all data protection policies, it's there on our website. You can see the Samsung's approach to privacy. It's true for many of our applications, but in particular, in this case, SmartThings applications is there. And people can request for download or data deletion through these apps. So that was the part how we are engaging people through those mechanisms, and we would have more sessions on that. Let's talk a little bit about how we are growing the platform because of multiple things that are coming on board. So the first part, both of these, we have been already doing, and last SDC we had announced it. Hub connected and cloud connected. What has changed? In 2020, we are working, planning to work hard on this hub, SmartThings Hub. So the key point that was there, that obviously everything you are putting on the hub and you are connecting, and at the same time, a lot of automations are happening onto the cloud. But the whole idea is, can we enable more devices to operate, to execute locally, even if it's not connected, or if it's a lot of private automations, or maybe it's not so meaningful to go to the cloud and can stay at the home level. For whatever reasons, can we do more local execution? So that has been one thrust area, and the work is ongoing, and you will hear a bit more in the hub sessions that is there. The cloud connected, cloud to cloud. So the whole idea is that people would build certain services, or they have already connected certain devices to the cloud. And instead of each of these devices connecting to us, can we connect the cloud? And we have this SmartThings schema. There, using AWS Lambda or webhooks, people can connect, develop a smart app with the SmartThings schema, and then they could connect it. So here, what you'll be hearing more is how we have eased out the debugging process and also discovery of devices. When we connect them, how can we also map them onto the cloud, so that into the SmartThings cloud, so that you can have a device discovery very smoothly. So these two have always been there. So let's talk about the new thing that we are kind of focusing this year is direct connected. So we have had protocols of OCF, and OCF already takes care of HTTP, QoAP, and different other ways we have been connecting Samsung's own devices and other devices. But this time, we have bringing in the MQTT protocol. And so therefore, any device that could have an MQTT client, and you could have an MQTT broker on the SmartThings cloud that will help them to connect it. So our developer workspace is already highlighting this, and device status and control command onboarding, that's reflected. But the key point is not just about the protocol, but what we are emphasizing is SmartThings device SDK. If you go to the booth, you will be able to see a lot of reference boards that we have announced with Espressif, NXP, and others that you could see there, about 8 different board designs. But the whole idea is if we could put their MQTT client, and then it could talk to the broker and could be connected. While doing that, we look into the security part of it, embed TLS and other kind of security layers. You have the MQTT part, and then you also have connection management and control part of it for device apps. One more ways that is to connect is device to device. This is quite common, that's typically we do if we have in Bluetooth. Obviously we do, whether we call it IoT or not. So this is something very, very important to support, and Jan from ABL would be talking a little bit more on this. How do we bring the people on board first with Bluetooth, and then probably some of the simple things we can do there, all this brightness control or on-off or color temperature. Later they could join into one of the other modes. This is the second part, which is rich experience with services. So we have launched this app, and this year we changed SmartThings 2.0. This is a significant change because it configures or allocates the devices per rooms and per zones. Also, we have worked hard to make sure that this app is very convenient to use. I'm glad to say that from 3.5 or so, the rating last year, we have quite a lot improved to 4.5 in Android, and iOS is at 4.0, and hopefully we'll take them much higher even next year. While doing this app, you can do the normal stuff, but we have also started looking into how can you bring some services. And when I say these services, it's not service, the last mile of it, but building a service framework and then working with the developers and partners who could bring that last mile service. The first reference service that's available is SmartThings Video, that you can see event-triggered video recording and on-demand live stream viewing. We have also launched recently SmartThings Air and SmartThings Energy. So monitor your air quality. Many countries, this is a challenge, and so therefore you can connect this trigger to your air conditioner or air purifier, to turn it on, and there are other sensors that are available. SmartThings Energy, we did an experiment last year with the Korea KPX. That's a power exchange demand supply control, because when you reach beyond a point, you have to go to certain other categories of fuels that may be much more expensive. So instead of going that, if you can pass it on that extra money to the users and the platform and the company itself. So it has been a nice experiment, and hopefully new policies would emerge even in Korea this year. So these are different services, and just showing one more example from the same one, that rich experience with the SmartThings Camera. So we have partnered with many, like Arlo, Ring, and others, in different ways, but there are these cameras, and SmartThings Cam, up to 4 cameras, you can see it. Through this cloud, motion and person detection, and you could notify, or you can have a trigger to record, and then this SmartThings video service, you can have a live video on-demand service. This service is already launched, and there is a basic plan of 24 hours recording is kind of free. And then there is a premium plan that helps you to keep even 30 days worth of data and some advanced video analytics to put it. And we also talked about this morning on SmartThings Vision. That is a privacy-preserving camera, special camera, which is available in few countries that's already started selling. And through that, we can build further such services that requires that kind of some elderly care or other things that requires a privacy. You should be able to build that. So this is, so far, I wanted to talk about how we are growing the devices and how we are engaging the people, and then what are the things that we are doing to grow our platform in this sense. So we have works with SmartThings platform, and we have a comprehensive program to ensure reliability, functionality, and interoperability. So today we have two kinds of programs. One is CST, that's SmartThings compatible. This is more like a self-certification. So people come with a checklist, and as you do that, without your device, without any other kind of constraints, few days for publishing, and that's available. Or when you progress, you could do the SmartThings certifications. There is a qualification process that includes the certification test and can use the WWST logo on certified devices if people go through that. So we have also revamped our developer workspace, and you can see different personas that are there. If you have a cloud-connected devices, then there is a separate path. If it's a hub-connected, then it's a separate kind of persona that you could use it. So it's a platform where you can register, develop, and publish your devices. And to talk a bit more about that, from TP-Link, we have Yash. He will be talking a little bit. They started with CST, then moved into WWST, and some of these processes he could highlight. We have a separate booth that's Let's Fly with SmartThings. It's not another program, but just for the sessions here, we decided to help the people quickly go and publish. So it's a bit more than the CST, less than the WWST. But register the partner information. We can receive the hub-connected devices or the cloud-connected, and implementation and review will be done on-site, and then, the publishing the device. So Ryan is here, and the booth is just in front. So if you have time or if you have devices, I will welcome you to join this Fly with SmartThings program. So here are different sessions that are following us. I just wanted to give a highlight. So immediately after this, there will be creating an IoT automation using SmartThings New Rules API. How to conquer IoT automation with a rebuilt web core. So these two are kind of connected program. Then today, 3:30, we are having a cloud-connected device with SmartThings. And tomorrow, we will have 3:30 similar time on the hub connected. So these are two types of device connections. I talked about the SmartThings device SDK, where MQTT protocol and how do you build that, including the security and connections. So integrate your device using MQTT protocol. So that's today in the evening. We are going to be talking separately on the SmartThings device plugins and UX design. There is a lot of taxonomies of the SmartThings, and we have revamped the whole SmartThings app and certain designs. So this would highlight on that. And obviously, one important part of it is our voice assistant. I've not talked about it, but this morning you have heard on Bixby. So with Bixby, you can do a lot of advanced automations, but then we have started opening it up, and other assistants, if it's available, they could also be connected to SmartThings platform. So this sessions would highlight with different voice assistants with Amazon Alexa, Google, as well as Yandex and a few others. We have a business session, Scaling Your Business with SmartThings by Sachin. And one important thing is today, 4:30, is on services and looking into how the enterprise IoT would unfold. So what I talked about on the energy management, on home opportunities, a lot of Asian countries, you can see the builders. You can equip, this is like a USP for selling a house that it has the automation. And so people are spending 1%, 2% of the overall property money to be able to invest into these automations, and it becomes their USP. So what do we do on the home front? What do we do on the energy? How do you do? There is a session, Billy Care is joining on the panel. And so what kind of elderly care services? These are spaces we are looking into to go into the enterprise IoT. So with that, I will stop here, and I'll invite Jan to talk a little bit about ABL's journey and the D2D. Followed by that would be Yash. He will come over and talk about CST and WWST, and then we'll take some questions from you. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Hopefully everybody's having lunch. Grab a sandwich to eat. I'm going to talk a little bit about the journey that Acuity Brands took with Samsung to develop some of the D2D technology that we are talking about. First of all, about Acuity. Acuity is the largest manufacturer of lighting products in North America. You interact with Acuity Brands products every day. When you're driving your car, you see roadway lighting, that's Acuity Brands. When you're walking down the street, you see pedestrian lighting, that's Acuity Brands. When you go to a restaurant, when you go to a hotel, when you go to a place of business, even in a classroom, that's Acuity Brands. And not at least when you go to your home, you also see Acuity Brands products. Acuity Brand has over 30 brands, and each brand is really an independent business that develops lights that are specific for a particular use. So with that, about 9 years ago, we partnered with Samsung to help us convert lighting from its conventional sources to digital lighting. And what that meant was converting HID, LED, and incandescent sources to LED. And LED really has taken over the entire lighting spectrum. What LED does for us is it allows us to do a lot more things with the light that we had there before. LEDs are really easy to turn on and off. They're really easy to dim. I can build a product where the light is warm, such as you would see in your house, and then it can turn into cool lighting, such as what you would find in a workplace or in a hospital, in a commercial space. And we can do that all in one product. We can also change colors, RGB, the actual color. So that's interesting for doing special effects, doing things at home, matching decor, doing a party mode, etc. But there's another thing that we can do with LEDs that are really not that well known, and that's human-centric lighting. Human-centric lighting is things like lighting that is designed to help you manage and improve your circadian rhythm. Lighting that can light your space, but at the same time help you disinfect, kill bacteria. That would be very useful in hospitals or in a nursery, in a bathroom. So those are the kind of things that we can do with LED that you normally don't see it, but is doing something for you. So when we began to do our journey in home automation, in what do we want to do in the consumer space, we started thinking about all the things that we can do. And as we began to do that, we started thinking, do we need to have an app? Do we need to have a cloud? Do we need to have a hub? What about security? California is implementing huge security protocols starting up next year. So we were looking at all of that and we're thinking, it doesn't make a lot of sense for us to do that, because once we do that, and if you think about the home, lighting is not the full ecosystem in a house. You have window coverings, you have door locks, you have cameras, you have all those things that Acuity Brands just doesn't do. We are the best in lighting, and that's what we're going to do. The best in lighting type of products. So once again, we partner up with Samsung to implement best-in-class connectivity using the SmartThings app. And what does that mean for us? That means that rather than you having just a light that turns on and off, dims up and down, and it doesn't do much of anything, which is kind of what is available today. Let's put those special things that we just talked about, the circadian rhythm, the disinfection, the RGB, the actual color changing in CCT, do all those wonderful things and more, but make it native to the app. So we began to do that journey last year. And one of the things that we encountered as we were doing the development was the fact that when you start doing all this, you find consumers that are only buying 1 or 2 devices. And it's hard to get them to commit to buying a hub and a starter kit, especially when the lighting products that we're going to have are going to be there's going to be so many different types. And so if you offer 1 starter kit, then the consumer only doesn't want to buy that light. What do? They have to buy the app, they have to buy this. So we wanted them to have a great user experience when they open that box. And in the box, when you open it up, it just says, hey, download the SmartThings app, and it just works. So that's the way where we began to develop the concept of D2D connectivity. D2D has an interface, which is Bluetooth, and that exists already on your phone. So that's the user interface of choice and a product. So you buy it, you download it, and it just works. So D2D connectivity needs Bluetooth to be able to work. But let's talk about now about going forward. SmartThings is not about Bluetooth initially. It's about Z-Wave and Zigbee. Those are the 2 best protocols with the high security methodologies and the best connectivity, best in class availability for home automation today in wireless. So we needed to have that as well, because what we want to do is once we have a customer with 1 or 2 devices, they want to have 3 or 4 devices or more, they want to have the ecosystem, then they got to go to the hub. We want them to go to the hub. So we need to have Zigbee in our device. So we developed with Samsung a brand new chip, and that chip was converted into a module. It's called the ITM module. And we co-developed that together at the Acuity Design Studio, which is powered by Samsung in our Atlanta headquarters in Atlanta, Georgia. So we worked on this chip together, we worked on the protocols, and this is a best-in-class chip. It has a fantastic radio, it has Zigbee built in, and Bluetooth, and it can do it concurrently, meaning that you don't have to switch it between one or the other, it just works. It does them both at the same time. So let's say somebody bought our product, they like it, they have a few of them, they want to commit, they buy the hub, now they want to get the cloud services and all those things going. They don't have to delete the network and create a new network again. It just does it automatically for them. So when you need the cloud connectivity, Zigbee works, and if you happen to lose the cloud connectivity for whatever reason, it just keeps working because it goes to Bluetooth automatically. So that's D2D. That's the promise of being able to have a very robust connectivity and a device that just simply works. And now I'm going to pass this over to Yesh so he can tell you about his journey.
Thanks, Jan. Hello, everyone. I'm Yash. I work as the Chief Architect at TP-Link CasaSmart. Before I start, I have to say how excited we are to be here and present at the SDC. And not only are we excited to present at the SDC, but also we are excited to see the kind of engagement that opens up with our devices, with Casa devices, with our collaboration with SmartThings. It's kind of opened up a floodgate in terms of Wi-Fi devices making them available on the SmartThings platform. Okay, so go ahead, yeah. So quick intro about CasaSmart and TP-Link. So TP-Link is known for reliable Wi-Fi devices or Wi-Fi networking devices for the last 20 years. And leveraging that same background and that expertise, we formed CasaSmart back in 2015. Mainly focused on smart home products. We started with one smart plug, and in the last 4 years, we've got a wide array of products in multiple categories, not limited to lighting, smart plugs, switches, and security cameras. So just last week, we announced 2 new products in the lighting category, which are a multicolor light strip and a filament light bulb. So our categories in terms of Wi-Fi, in terms of products, are increasing, and all of these are tied by one app, which is the CasaSmart app. So this app is highly rated on both App Store and Google Play. It has 4 and 8 stars on each of these. And we kind of work, our team really works really hard to kind of give good quality products out. So with all of this Wi-Fi and all of these Wi-Fi ecosystem and all of these products, that kind of, brings me to the next point is why SmartThings? And what was the decision for us to go and collaborate ahead with SmartThings, right? So it's like I have to bring back to what Alok talked about, the triplets. So the products that we have, switches and lighting, they are the key part of the triplets. 70% of the triplets, as Alok mentioned, are related to lightings and switches. So anytime a sensor goes off, you have to kind of act on it. Lighting needs to be more reactive than you manually going on and turning it on, saying that turn on the lights, or opening your app and say turn on the light. It has to be more reactive. The system needs to integrate internally to make your home smarter. So that kind of brings to SmartThings integration, where we are able to now use our devices with all the sensors out there in the SmartThings ecosystem and kind of make use of all the automations that are out there, and our devices can participate on it. So that's one. And the second is the additional interactions that we get with our devices, and be it with the Bixby, or be it with the SmartThings app, or refrigerators, when my wife is cooking something and then she wants to turn on something or turn off something, or be it the television, right? So these are all the exciting touch points that our devices get from our customers and the SmartThings community. So that's what makes this integration more exciting. So going ahead, the tech implementation, cloud connected device, SmartThings schema, a bit of production issues, and we are done. That's a joke. But I think cloud connected device, that's the strategy we have. We have a mature cloud with really low latency. So it's as good as native. So you say turn on a device, it will turn on with a blink of an eye. It's as good as native. So the SmartThings platform and our cloud technology brings that low latency implementation possible. But not only that, the implementation that we went ahead with was, we went with the compatible route, because that made more sense. Because it's like you are done in a month with the benefits that the schema offers, because we were able to map the SmartThings schema, the capabilities provided by the SmartThings schema, into an array of our devices, the multi-slot devices, the three-way switches that we have. And all the other kinds of Wi-Fi device categories that we have, we were able to easily map it without any issues, and we were able to go out with the compatible route from SmartThings in a matter of 2 months, and we were out, and people could use our devices on the SmartThings app. But then we did saw a benefit on the Works with SmartThings program, because it's a bit more involved, but it's not that tough as people might say, because you just have to post some proactive state reporting from your devices to the SmartThings infrastructure. I think what it gives to us as a business is, I think in terms of community, we are building a lot of trust with the SmartThings community when we get that brand, when we get that certification process done, where SmartThings and Samsung guys say that, okay, this device works well, it's vetted well by the QA, and there is definite benefit to it, along with the brand recognition that we get. So that's where we went ahead. We kind of implemented the Works with SmartThings program. You can check out this demo live that we have set up on our booth with this implementation. So I will highly recommend everyone to go with the SmartThings Works with SmartThings program if you are already on the compatible device program. Okay. So with that, I would like to close, and I'm really looking forward to see what kind of automations you come with the array of devices that we provide with our collaboration with SmartThings. Thank you, guys. With this, I will like to call upon Alok and Gyan on stage for some Q&A. Thank you, guys.
We have about 5-6 minutes, so if you have any questions or comments, suggestions, your experience, most welcome. No hands? No. Yes.
I think the key challenge in there was to make sure that all our devices are up to date with the latest firmware. Because we deal with the switches and the lighting area, So we have to be careful not to turn off a light while the user is using it. So it has to be at a certain time, probably in the night when it's not already on. So ensuring that all the firmwares are up to date in terms of posting these events up was probably one of the key areas that we had to focus on. Other than that, our implementation was fairly straightforward.
Yep. Well, it's all about offering the consumer the seamless experience as possible. You have the light users, and you have the heavy users, and you have the light users that convert themselves into heavy users later. And so the light users may not want to ever commit to the hub. They're actually afraid of it. And so if you have a consumer that's very apprehensive, this is a great way to onboard them. And then once you use them, you use the app, the same app as you would whether you have a hub. Then adding the hub is just a matter of getting this device that just plugs in and goes into Wi-Fi network, and that's the end of that. So it's a really easy way to get them to try and then get them to commit. And that's the whole point of having the app, all the capabilities that it offers and all the partnerships and all the ecosystem that is out there. Then it just makes sense. Also, rather than Z-Wave, I mean, I'm biased by Z-Wave. I love Z-Wave, but Z-Wave requires a different protocol because it's at 900 megahertz, so it's some gig. We can get Bluetooth and Zigbee working off of the same silicon. And that is a huge cost savings. A lot of the products that we want to build are not going to be very high end. I mean, we have products that are $300, $400 a piece, but we also want to build products that are $20. So there's going to be a lot of users where they say, I'm going to buy the high-end products and have them in my kitchen, in my living room, but in my basement, I can't make that kind of investment, right? Why would you? Closets. Get that $20 product in there, it works the same way. So that's why you get the interaction. Meaning that if we have both, do we believe that we're going to get greater market share because of it? That's the belief. The products will be launching in 2020, so they're not out there yet. So we do get a lot of voice from the customers. We're talking to system integrators, we're talking to retailers. We have a lot of customers already. So our access to market is there, and that's what we're hearing. The voice of the customer says, I want to avoid the complexity, but some people want to. And what we're seeing is that the ecosystem is gaining traction. Voice assistants are gaining traction and helping getting that done. And if you have a platform that allows you to do all of those, and without having to buy yet another adapter, then you win. And that's what we're trying to avoid, having to have people buy yet another adapter.
Yes. Yep. No, obviously the D2D context we have not done yet, so that's something open for future. But that's more about the Samsung's own devices, which is following today the OCF protocol. So it's presently based on that. But yeah, I mean, that's an open point.
I guess we should have said DUD has been announced today. Nobody's doing this.
Yes.
So we're the first time. The chip just got finished, and that's what we're doing right now. So it's brand new. You're the first to know.
Questions related to Title 24 California. The residential housing requires solar panel. You'll see class 2 DC voltage on the lighting became more into the home market down the road, or will stay the AC power supply only?
I'm not sure I understand the question, but Title 24 does has stringent requirements for residential and both commercial spaces.
Is the lighting system going to go to a DC power supply class 2 wiring, or stay in the AC only? Because we have too many drivers right now, right?
Yeah, no, we actually have remote driver, we call remote driver systems. We do have them, they're available. Architectural spaces use it a lot because you don't have a lot of room. But generally speaking, residential, the AC power supply, meaning the AC down to a DC to drive the LEDs within the luminaire, that's really the prevalent system out there. There's AC direct power supplies, and there's DC to DC power supplies built into those devices. Some of them have flicker because they're lower cost power supplies. But the standards nationwide are getting tougher and tougher, and we're actually reducing flicker more and more. So as technology advances, the power supplies get cheaper, the technology gets better, that flicker that you saw in products that is kind of dominate the market for a while is kind of gone away.
So thank you. That's all the time that we had, and thank you again for being a nice audience as well as being partner to us. Thank you again to us. Thank you again to us.